The Melbourne Buddhist Centre has been here in this building for about 17 years now. We are part of the Triratna Buddhist community, which is a worldwide movement. Triratna meaning three jewels. It's the Sanskrit word for three jewels. The three jewels of Buddhism being the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha.
Samadhyami. Sadhu. Sadhu.
So we're part of this worldwide community. There are centres in countries all over the world: North America, South America, Mexico, Europe, Asia, here in Australasia.
With deeds of loving kindness,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With open-handed generosity.
With open-handed generosity,
I purify my body.
I purify my body.
With stillness, simplicity and contentment.
With stillness, simplicity and contentment,
I purify my body.
I purify.
As Buddhism has moved to different countries around the world, it blends into the culture that it arrives in. So has taken on the forms of Tibetan Buddhism, Japanese Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism. They're all slightly different. So we're looking at what is Australian Buddhism. What does it mean to be a modern Australian and practice Buddhism? So that's very much how we're, and it is an exploration. You know, it's like we haven't got the answers yet. We're still trying to see what works, to see what's relevant.
The radiant, fearless mantra, the Prajna Paramita, whose words are
The Buddhism we teach is relevant for the modern world. Our teacher, Sangharakshita, he was an Englishman who studied in India for 20 years, studied all forms of Buddhism, and wanted to teach the core teachings of the Buddha relevant to the 21st century.
The focus being focused on what other people might think or whatever. I was actually more internal.
Okay. Well, that's a very, very, very good precept. When I'm regurgitating a conversation, worrying whether people like me or don't like me, whatever, I'll stand on one leg, and that'll help me to be more autonomous. No, if it works for you, that's
well,
fine.
most people who come here, yes, they're living in the city, they're in the modern world, they're working 9 to 5 or often 8 till 6, and we're just trying to help them have a context in which to hold that requirement in their lives. So whatever commitments they have when they come here, our job is to support them continuing with those commitments, which is one of the reasons the retreat, the urban retreat that's going on at the moment, is to help people see that they can sort of get an experience of being on retreat while in their everyday life. It's not something you go away to do. It's a frame of mind.
I had a big challenge to my precept on Monday. I had a big crisis at work with one of my clients, and it all went out the window completely, and I had a bit of a meltdown. So I felt like this week was particularly...
So if you're thinking more like, oh, I'm on retreat, I'm going to be a bit more mindful about what I eat, about whether I watch television, about how I speak to my family and my friends. These are the sorts of ways where you are expressing your Buddhist ideals. You don't have to be off, in a cabin in the woods to do it. You're retreating from habits of behaviour, not from lifestyle. Yeah. When I first walked into one of our Buddhist centres as a newcomer, I looked around and all these completely different people, and I thought, what have I got in common with any of these people? And then you get to know them and you realise what you have in common is that search for truth, the search for kind of self-actualisation, for understanding the world. And that's you're joining each other on a fairly deep level, so the superficial changes don't mean that much. We can be superficially very different, but we know that we share a deep understanding about what's important in the world, and that makes it very easy to connect. What we're teaching is everybody has the potential to grow, to change, to develop, to become enlightened, not just those who've chosen a particular lifestyle. Parasangate Bodhi